Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our first session of 2025. As we did last year, we're going to continue with some KEY360 essentials. But in starting off, I just want to wish you guys a happy new year and a very prosperous new 2025. And I hope that this year will be the best so far. On our side, looking at today's hot topic, we're looking at still the KEY360 essentials for our users and new possible users. And specifically today, we're talking about team players and how KEY360 can actually be helpful to team players and teams out there. When we talk about teams, of course, we talk about project teams, but also in the business world. KEY360 has been developed, as you might know by now, for the business world as well, not just for project management. So you'll see that also during our chat later this morning on this side. So yes, it's a lovely, again, a Wednesday morning here this time now, and it is early still in January for us, nice and warm, with some thunder showers now and then here in Pretoria in South Africa. But I hope from wherever it is that you are joining us today, that you're having a good time and that you are ready to spend some time with us this morning. Okay, well, looking at this session today, I first just need to remind you, please, we need your likes, subscriptions, please, those notifications, hit that bell button, and tell some more friends about us and some colleagues about us, and listen in and share this in the workplace or even afterwards. I'm sure this will be helpful in looking at your setup at work as well. Looking at rules, there's no rules. When we say that, of course, yes, as you might know by now, if you have actually clocked in before with us, we would like this for this to be an interactive session. So please hit some chats in the chat box there, and we've got someone at the back that will be picking up that and fixing that for us, and also answering you back, or then just relaying about that back to us here so that we can actually discuss it here quickly, or even give you more feedback during our next session. But also you're welcome to raise a hand. Also, there will be people looking out for that, and then we can ask some questions as well. The best part, or the most important part for us, of course, here is for you to share this with a friend or a colleague. Please, I can't state this enough. Share this, get the word out, show people what you have discovered with us here today, and maybe with previous sessions as well. I'm your host, Gerard Olofse. I'm the training executive here at SSG Consulting, the project management consulting firm here in Pretoria. Our guest here is Johan Mostert. He's a project manager with us, also been here for many years now, and lots of experience, also previous experience with the South African Air Force. And then our moderator, Corlia de Prier. We're going to ask actually this morning Martinez Jacobs to stand in for her. Corlia is also the PA to our CEO of our company, and then Martinez Jacobs, our IT manager, looking at our technical side at the back end of this morning's chat. Okay, so let's jump right in here. We are going to talk about team players and teams. So we need to define teams, and where do we find teams? What do they consist of? And what are the things that we usually speak of when we talk about teams, specifically in the project world and in the business world? And then, of course, how can KEY360 help team players and teams out there currently focusing on projects? And then, of course, we'll do a little bit of a demonstration or playing around inside KEY360, just navigating around a bit again a little bit this morning. And then at the end, we'll jump to Martinez quickly just for some questions and answers. Okay, so let's jump right in. I actually want to ask Johan, when it comes to team players and teams, you've surely served with many teams before, whether it was now in the military or with us. Can you give us a little bit of background of different teams that you've been working with in projects up to now?
My experience with teams, I've had experience when I joined the Air Force. When a DISA tells you to do a certain thing, you tend to think, you know what, I have to do this myself, and he chases you up and down in the parade on the parade ground, and then you just see dust behind you. And then when you get back and you're there first, but the rest of your team players are still running towards wherever he chased you towards, and then you say, I did it. Then he looks at you and he says, that's not how it works. When I chase everybody, you go as a group and you come back as a group, because somebody might fall on the way there, or get stuck somewhere there, and you're there to support it. First of all, that's why it's so important to have a team player, and that this is something that gets drilled into you from day one in the Air Force. Same happens in projects as well. You can't just walk into a project and think you know everything from the beginning to the end. You do need that second input from your team players, and every team player will be part of that team once it starts.
That's a very good one. Thank you, Jan. That's actually great. And it's very true. People need to understand, I think, already from the beginning, when we talk about teams here, it's really inclusive. Working as an entity all by yourself in a corner is not really conducive towards team players and the rest of the team. And of course, also, it actually undermines all the activities around the team, the communication, everything. And I've listed a couple of things here for us to just quickly go through before we really jump into KEY360 and looking at how KEY360 can make things work for teams. So yes, influencing project team dynamics would be things like, for instance, the size of the team, or how many teams are there to begin with on our project. We've seen mega projects now internationally, with multiple project teams divided between different areas of the entire bigger project. So the communication there, the dynamics within those teams and how they interlink basically between the teams is very important, and very influenced by the leadership of those teams as well. And then, of course, communication channels, if that is set up properly, then of course that will be conducive towards efficiency as well. The culture, the environmental aspects really also plays a part. It's really a lot of psychology as well behind this that we've seen with teams working in the project world. And I think all your business guys out there can also vouch for the same. Your environment really sets the scene, and it really influences how people respond to different actions or requests. And of course, cultures as well. I think even languages, we've mentioned this here at almost at the bottom of this slide, there's barriers sometimes with different languages. So how do we actually break those barriers? How do we actually mitigate those risks for teams working together, especially for the international guys? And then, of course, frequency of interaction. I'm jumping around a little bit here. Frequency of interaction. How often do we really get together, sit around the table, or have actions that we are all involved in together as a team? I recently actually picked up on a company that said, due to COVID and the past couple of years after that, they didn't have the money, the funds to actually get the teams back together to do team building sessions, proper formative sessions. And they actually are reaping sort of not the benefits, but obviously the aftermath of all of that now, a couple of years later, where people are actually a bit disconnected. So working remotely can be good, but also not that good, especially when it comes to teams like this. And then, of course, support systems like KEY360, a typical system like KEY360 to support your communication, the flow of work as well, and for reporting. So everyone is on the same page at the same time, knowing exactly what's happening on the project and in the business as well. And then, of course, qualifications, the knowledge and the experience levels of the team members themselves. That also, of course, influences the dynamic of the team. We've said a lot now, I think, already about language barriers, but then, of course, management structures and management styles also, I think, altogether influence the team dynamics that is out there. So as you can see in the little block here on the right, something that's very important here, it says relationships and interactions versus productivity, and performance. That's really what it's all about when it comes to team dynamics.
And the thing is, just to add to that, Gerard, and I've seen it to you before, and it's just something that somebody sent that's so important, especially when it comes to teams, working in teams. There's a saying by Veronica Barrett that says, positions don't last forever. Ranks and titles are limited. This is like Defense Force information. But how you treat people is something that they'll never forget. So important.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. So it's really your experience that would make you want to come back, or make you want to make use of that contractor again. Are these guys really efficient? Do they communicate well? How's this team really performing for me as the client at the end of the day, but also for me as part of the team? When I am, part of a team in a project, what is my experience? So yes, it's a bit of a personal thing as well. My experience wanting to go back, wanting to give more and be more productive, and perform a little bit better. It's all influenced also by those, I want to say, interactions and interdepartmental experiences that we have. Looking at when this is actually a very interesting one that we've picked up over the years now as well, working on projects and in different teams. We've seen this, and Johan, I actually have experienced this between us on previous projects as well. You can walk in, see who your team members are, get introduced, start working, and just know already this is how these people work. This is how this and this leader actually expect you to perform, and you can almost finish their sentences sometimes if you know each other, of course, well enough. And that's almost at that level that you really want to operate. You want your team to actually get each other, to stand in for each other. And like you said earlier with that first analogy, actually brilliant, to know where the shortcomings are so you can stand in for each other. Not to cover it up, but actually to fix that and to say, listen, where you fall a little bit short, I've got a little bit of a strong point there, but where's your weak point? I can fill that in for that, and vice versa, of course. So yes, optimal service delivery with well-versed staff. Obviously, it's almost ranked number one all over the show. We see that all over the internet. So yes, people would like to have good communication skills and good communication flowing between the different departments. That's very interesting to see that the focus is more and more on communication. And I think companies are realizing now that, whatever happens within those project teams has a direct effect on their efficiency and eventually on the time and cost and everything of the project itself. So all that together does have an effect at the end of the day. And then, of course, the team itself. Yes, we always say these buzzwords, are they efficiency driven? But this points more towards commitment. The fact that at the back of my head, I'm thinking my team cannot fail. I cannot allow my team to fail. I must be there to make them, to help them to be efficient and to make them successful at the end of the day. Knowing my strong points is good, but it's not good enough. Knowing everyone else's strong points, that's really where we want to get to. So it's really more important than I think what we tend to think, for us to know our team members and to really just get to jump in and join a team and really commit to that team itself as well. Yes, of course, managing expectations. We touched on that a little bit earlier as well. It's really important to know what is expected of me, what's expected of my team, before we even start working together. What is the scope? That's not all that a project is all about. It's also really how can we get along and how can we get the work done safely, efficiently, on time, and within budget, of course. So all buzzwords, I think that we're all well known with that. And then, of course, interdepartmental alignment. All that happens almost automatically. It's almost like when team members start joining a team from previous projects or whatever, if it's more experienced people, they tend to sort of look out for the right things in different people, and they know where to latch on and just jump into with the team and become part of that.
I can just add to it, your teams and team players also goes beyond what is just internal. Your client is just as good as part of the teams and team players.
Absolutely.
Because yesterday was a good example of being at a client. When I arrived there, you would expect the person that you went to go and see. There's suddenly 4 or 5 of the clients that arrives there that just wants to sit with you and discuss what they've done, show you what they've done, and make you as part of their team as well.
Wow.
And it was amazing to see that yesterday, the positive and the encouragement of what they are doing and what they have achieved.
That's really, that to me connects to the second last one here, inspirational leadership. That is so great because I know that as human beings, we are proud of our accomplishments and we'd like to share them. And especially if you're a client, handing over something to a project team, it's really important to us to make that team understand this is something that's precious to us. It's something that we've worked on for maybe a long time. It's been coming for a long time. We've been waiting for this in anticipation. And we just want the team to perform well and really give us exactly what we're dreaming of for all these years, maybe, or whatever the case is. But the thing is, we want to share. We are human beings and we're made like that. And the first and foremost opportunities that we get to share would be to sit around the table and to communicate. So that brings me to the last point here, the open communication. It also connects to that third last point, being proactive, to proactively start talking. And this is exactly what you mentioned now. Sometimes the client really cannot wait to spend that time with you, to get to know you, to know who they're working with. What level of knowledge and experience do they have then on the team, and how reliable is that team, and sort of to orientate themselves regarding that. But then also, what tools are they using? Are they confident about the tools that they're using? Because that just gives you peace of mind as the client. I believe we've seen this over and over, where clients actually would ask so much about the platform, KEY360 itself. And the moment as a team member, when you can start showing them on KEY360, this is my part, this is my department, I've actually focused on this area, and it actually works together with that department. Here's how it integrates. The better you know your system, and the better the support is that your system can render, of course, the more impressive it is, and the more efficient and the more, I think, confident you will be as well, and really just boost the team morale and the team's commitment as well. Because again, looking at the platform itself, if it's a versatile platform and it covers everything like your communication and all your departments and all your focus areas, you as a team will sort of automatically start communicating better and start bonding through that better. So the interrelationships between the team members are actually really affected directly or indirectly by the platform that you're using. So let's look at how can KEY360 help? The platform versatility that I just spoke of now. Yes, it helps to build trust. It helps to build skills. It helps you to think innovatively. Earlier this week, I saw how us as a team are working on a project specifically. We're developing and discovering new ways of showing risks and the elevations of that, and the ratings being pulled through with summary labels onto dashboards, and color coding and conditional formatting that goes with that. The dynamics in the team as we were developing that was just phenomenal. And the excitement between the members when they actually do get it at the end of the day. So that is that accomplishment that's being shared as well, and all on that platform. It's really just facilitating that whole teamness.
What I've also saw yesterday is some of the client users that I spoke to as well. A lot of them know the areas of the work skills and that. But what helps, especially on KEY360, is when they open that form, it's not a tunnel vision. It's actually wider than they thought. When they realize how much more information can be provided by enhancing those skills as well, which is so important,
That's
and
great.
adapt to it as well.
That's great. That's great. I think really because Key360 is so well thought up, but also well researched and developed on not just international standards, but really in depth. It's more than just the standards. The guys really went and dug deep in developing this. It really facilitates, just like you say, you want to become a bit innovative as well and combine the different things. It's like you say, I've had clients asking, but can we also, in addition to what we've asked, can we do this and that and the following, simply by looking at the system or the platform itself? So yes, there's things that we can touch on that we'll look at just now after these slides here, where we go into the system, and some of them are listed here. Looking at mentorship programs. I'm talking internally now, looking at ourselves here. We've got nice mentorship programs, and our platform really supports that. That's a great way of just making sure that teams actually work together, they interact frequently and on a specific level as well. We look at career paths of people, all that's on the same platform. It's not just for project management, like I said earlier, or just for business management, but really it's all inclusive. The whole HR part is there, looking after all of our employees at all the multiple different levels between the departments as well. Stakeholder management, performance management, internal, external surveys, the mentorship programs, lessons learned. I mean, this list just goes on and on and on. It's really just so amazing. And like you said, Johan, earlier, when you open up one of these registers and you want to add a line item, the form opens up for that line item, and it's like a whole new world opening, because you could see all the different things that you could add to that line item, just to categorize it better or to get more reporting, I want to say, value from your whole register at the end of the day. So really just such a versatile platform all over again. Looking here at the bottom of the slide here, the user friendliness. Once you've done your induction here with us, you actually get to do your framework training, which is really quick. Within a day or two, you're up and running. And as you go through what we call the rabbit hole with all the different framework training lessons, it actually takes you down a rabbit hole just to get to know the platform better. And within a couple of days, you are flying. You're building dashboards. You are setting up your own registers, your own breakdown structures and categorization, etc. So really, it's like a new skill that you develop. And before you know it, you're actually speaking a new language, which is really very interesting to see how people just develop towards project management by just looking at the platform itself. And then, of course, it helps you with meetings, helps you with what we call recordings, which is actions or things that we actually discuss in our meetings. And then, of course, tasks as well, task management, looking at specific actions over specific times that should have been done or can be done or should be delegated to people. How are we following up on that? The system, again, notifies us, keeps us in the loop. I love the whole status visualizer where everything is status driven and it actually comes back and you can actually see on whose table what thing was lying for how long before it moved on to another person. Everything you can track and trace. And I love that about the system. Again, it helps us to communicate well. And even without sometimes sitting around the table, you can just simply log in and already see what is happening with the team at that point in time. As you can see here, there's some screenshots here from the system, just quickly from the menu on top there usually. So you can see all the different knowledge areas. Just looking at versatility here, everything from HR, the basic integration at the beginning, all the way looking at specifically communication here as well, all the different forms that you could think of for official communication, including, of course, your emails and the rest of your media as well, if you really want to. Time management's there, your scope management's there, your cost management's there, the big ones.
And then just to add, to explain the recordings part as well, because I do have questions usually from the clients, what does recordings mean? I mean, it's straightforward. It is basically a reminder, an action, or a note for general that it's been used for, which you can then notify yourself or whoever's part of that action going forward.
Correct. So in the system, we talk about recordings, but it's not necessarily an audio recording or a visual recording of something. It could be, but when we talk about recordings, yes, we talk about a record, something a line item that's put up into a register that actually tells you what should be done at what time by who. So yes, thanks for that, Johan, to clarify that. Our last slide before we jump in here is just to show a little bit of, some examples here of how KEY360 can help. Some nice clean slides here, looking at dashboards and parts of dashboards that I've extracted very, very quickly just to show there's things like kiddos. I don't know if all the companies looking in here today are making use of that or some similar system or model, but with us we call it kiddos, obviously based on KEY360, the naming the convention there. But of course, yes, kiddos again really just rewarding or awarding people for a job well done. So that again also looking at team dynamics, looking at interpersonal relationships within the team, again boosting that as well. The system just helping you to just I want to say actually empower more people and make them feel a little bit I think appreciated is the right word here. So yes, KEY360 reminders and notifications, like you said, there it is. Looking at charts, you can have any kind of chart that you can think of there. And then, of course, the confidence that you get, knowing that your data is secure on a system like this also affects the teamness. Because, again, you know that what you're talking about is real. It is there. It can be proven. It was uploaded at a specific time and place and by a specific user. And it's always accessible to the right people, again, under your control. So really such a nice system for just helping a team to become a real project team, an effective team. Responsibilities, of course, especially looking at system maintenance is not always with the team. You can decide really, but looking at the actual maintenance of KEY360 itself resides with, of course, SSG Consulting. So you don't have to worry about that responsibility. The upkeep of the software itself, everything is done by us. So you really just fly. You just use the system and just make it fly for yourself and adopt it and adapt it to your needs. You don't have to use the whole system. You can use just little bits and pieces of it. If you need to, you can simply just, for instance, use the HR part or just the risk part or whatever it is you need to, maybe just asset management or materials management, or just maybe even the logistics part, just for bookings and accommodations and traveling and all that. But yes, at the end of the day, I think what really makes the system work is the versatility combined with the transparency. The fact that all of the users that you give access to, they can all see what's been done, when it's been done, and who did it. So it really keeps everyone on the same page, and you can actually fix mistakes before it actually has any effect. Again, with those notifications and reminders in place. So there's a slide or two there showing team performance. So it's just a quick little gauge there. And of course, looking at specific factors. So looking at KPIs, how often do they interact? How frequently do they interact? And what are those interactions all about? And who's involved? All of that, and looking at the indicators also, as you can see at the bottom left there on that slide. Apologies, just the different colors there, giving you a good idea of, are we in the green? Are we orange? Are we red? Are we yellow? And according to our model, again, the different models that you may have for risk management or for personnel management or for anything that you may have can be integrated into KEY360 here. Again, the versatility, that's so great. So yes, monitoring anything from your medicals to your actual career path, as you may think of. So I think that said, it's maybe a good time to quickly jump into KEY360. So if you'll allow me, I'm just going to quickly just jump to the system itself. We've already logged in here. So this is just one of our projects in KEY360, and this is the recordings register that we spoke of just now. And I've just quickly put up two examples here between me and Liesel here, one of the recordings being completed already and one of them being rejected at that time. So really the system allows you to update statuses again so that people will know where are we down the line with this recording. What's happening with that specific task that's been allocated to that person? Has it been delegated? Has it been rejected? Why has it been rejected? So there will be, of course, when you scroll further to the right here, you'll find comments explaining why this should actually be done differently or better or whatever the case is. Or if it is completed, also in the comments box, showing you the history of those different statuses as it went through its life cycle. So yes, you can actually double click and open up a line item. Again, as you can see, there's the form opening up, and this is what you spoke of. You can see all the multiples, all the different sections on the form here, which you can expand with all different fields for you to fill out. You don't have to use everything, but this usually is like a whole new world opening on things. And you can see here the status history of this specific recording as it went through its time, with time date stamps there and possible comments. If you had any comments, then of course it would have been in there as well, and some others, other columns in here that you can add from the field chooser to get even more information on that specific status for that recording at that time. So the status visualizer, as I mentioned earlier, I love this part. It's a nice visualization of what's happening to my recording, whatever that recording might have been. Why are we looking at this again? And how does this connect to teams? Again, if you as a team member want to know what is happening on my project, you can simply go and open a register such as this, and immediately, one by one, you can go through or see it all in bulk and really just get an overall picture before you even start communicating. But this is also a great form of communication, just already knowing that my report going out maybe on Friday, this is the kind of information that will be in there. So it prompts me to actually talk to the right people.
As well as adding the turnaround time, how quickly you can get this over and done instead of waiting for something to happen.
Exactly. So yes, combating the delays as well. All right, so that was recordings. I'm just mentioning just this part here. I don't want to show too much. This you can see. But yes, even man loading. I don't want to go into too much detail here, but that's available by the HR part as well. So for your projects, for whatever it is that you are tackling as a team, you can upload your resources, being your people and whatever the resources may be that goes with that. And then you can monitor their hours and allocate hours. And of course, make sure that on a weekly basis, you are checking in with each other and making sure that you are still on par. And then, of course, another dashboard here taking you towards your timesheets, also your green print, as we call it, that would be looking at your performance assessment, and then HPA, your human performance accelerator here. So that's also being developed inside KEY360 itself with your training videos, links to that, little buttons inside on our dashboards, a lot of stuff that you can use to customize the system with to really look the way you want it to. Okay, then of course, on timesheets itself, you can see again how people are allocated different hours, different roles on different projects, and you can really just go and see immediately when the system tells you that something is missing. So a lot of nice features like conditional formatting available as well. Let's jump to the actual timesheets. This is my own timesheets here. You can see over the week. So each and every line item here would represent a week. So that's a different timesheet. And you can see where it goes red. That's because the timesheet is still with me and I'm still updating it. But the moment I submit that, it goes green. It goes to someone specific, as you can see, as the next responsible person here. So you can see the interaction between team members already just by looking at a register like this. And then, of course, there you go, the tasks. We spoke of the tasks earlier, but you can actually have a register like this where you can accumulate all your tasks and see all the details about specific tasks that you perform in your line of work. Even if it's things that you do over and over and over, it's fine if it's listed in here. Your role on that project or in that team is listed together with that. Then people can actually go and filter for things and combine different things and see really where's your focus area? What kind of a specialist are you? What your aim is, what your career path is going to look like. What was it maybe 6 months ago compared to now? And then, of course, this is used for your scoring as well inside of your performance assessments as well. So everything in here, really, really impressive. And then, of course, things like inside here, like we said earlier, the kiddos as well, where you can really just access a register and put up someone for a certain amount of kiddos if you want to maybe install or have a model for awarding people over time for a job well done. So again, looking at performance management as well as a team, or maybe as leaders of a team, this system can be used not just for project management itself, but really just discussing your performance and seeing how you can communicate. If I can quickly jump to the communication knowledge area, you can see there at the top all the different forms of communication. So KEY360 really just supporting the team to talk to each other, to notify each other on time. You can see there anything from the email register to surveys, everything is covered in here, project queries. Your minutes of meetings would, of course, be your events and recordings, like you can see in this first module here on the top left. And then, of course, looking at stakeholder management, document control, etc., etc.
Just to add to the email register, it's something a lot of clients tend to forget about, is the email register. It is such an important part of KEY360 to be utilized, especially when a person leaves or a person has a laptop has been stolen, or whatever the situation. What's so nice about it is to CC the project always, and all that information will always be in KEY360, and the whole traceability of finding that information is a lot faster than, as everybody knows, how long it takes to find an email in Outlook, or you remember you've put it somewhere and there was a reason why it was in that folder, but it shouldn't have been in that folder because it really actually didn't need to be there. It should have been on an important part of how you think of creating your folders in an Outlook. So KEY360 is very powerful in this email register, especially when it comes to claims.
Oh, yes.
Very helpful in that.
Yeah, in that sense, true. You know of a previous project that we were on, where we actually made use of the email register and looking at the sequence of different emails flying in and out to the team. It actually shows the correspondence between the team members. And I can tell you now what's very interesting about that is, of course, it actually forms your correspondence register, or it makes up a great part of all the correspondence. But being legal documents as emails, of course, it actually provides you with all the details that you need looking at that specific correspondence. So as Johan was just explaining now, I was logging into another project here, something internally that we were busy with, or that we are busy with. And you can see here the email register that I just opened now actually has all the emails here and in the form of line items again. And you can see them in sequence with time date stamps again. You can see who it was from, who it was to, the contents, etc., etc. So very, very impressive to have a system like this. All you need to do is just to CC a specific email address for your project inside KEY360, and it will end up or land up in here in this register for you to have as proof in the court one day as well.
And just to add to it, the other question that was raised before by clients as well, but what if that person didn't use their project email? Then just forward it to that project email address, and it's in the environment as well. Yeah. So you've got history of it, and you can, from that point onwards, then respond on that email that you've forwarded to the project.
Absolutely. So there's so many options for you really inside of KEY360 to use really as a team together. You can have an administrator for your project looking at all of your minutes of meetings and making sure that it's distributed well and the communication flows well with regards to that. And also maybe your events, putting up new events for the team, something like a specific event that you must go and attend can be logged onto KEY360 as a specific event. And then, of course, people can be invited to that event and then can be notified about all the preparations they need to have for that event. And of course, like we said, with the email register, you can just go into so much detail as well, telling them about what is expected of them as an individual, maybe during that event, or whatever the case. The logistics part as well. If I can quickly just click here on logistics, as you can see at the top there, really anything that you want to make arrangements for. In this case, on this project, you can look at flight bookings, you can look at travel arrangements, your accommodation, etc., etc. So, and then of course, also inside timesheets, you can look at your disbursements. You can look at all the claims that you want to do for maybe fuel, for distances traveled, or for toll gates and parking and accommodation again. So all of this actually is sort of a little bit integrated, but it's all on the same system so that you don't have to go look for different things in different places. And also, again, you can make attachments to any of these line items in any of these registers, just to obviously support what it is that you are claiming for or what it is that you are updating for. So really the communication is supported so well.
And just to add to it, just doesn't mean your fuel that you use for your own vehicles or company vehicles. You can use this as well for your construction-based projects where you have certain tanks that needs to be filled, diesel for biomass plants or whatever, to keep track of the amount of diesel that was used or bought from, and have a record of what has been utilized.
Yeah. So definitely this system is more than just an archive. It's not just something, it can be, of course, used as that, but yes, so much more because it's interactive and it's a live system. It's a cloud-based system, which means whatever you upload, whatever new line items gets added to the registers is immediately available, visually available to everyone on the team. It doesn't matter where they are, they log in with whatever laptop or device that they have available, and of course they can continue working and simply just update the statuses of those line items and maybe attach some additional proof of the development of that line item. I think that really helps. I think it should help now for you to understand a little bit better how KEY360, this is one of the ways how KEY360 can really help your team to become a better and a closer team and a more efficient team. Really, your platform can make or break the project itself, and also the confidence of your team members as well. So please feel free to contact us really to talk about KEY360 and how we can help you to get KEY360 onto your business as well. Let's quickly jump back in. Go. So that was the personal experience. Of course, next we have to jump to questions and answers. It's that time already. So I want to ask Martinez on your side, any questions or any comments maybe from any of the listeners?
No, nothing, G.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so in that case, yes, I just quickly want to jump to one more slide here just to remind you, you're welcome to also maybe make use of this QR code here on the right. But yes, thank you for your time, for listening in today. There's more to come next week. We are part of, or this session is part of, as we said, the KEY360 Essentials. series that we are running. So there's a couple of things essentially that you need to know about KEY360, and this is just some of it. Looking at document control, looking at planning, looking at some of our courses. These are two of the flagship courses that we also present here at SSG Consulting. Both of these courses are also presented virtually, so it's interactive online courses. It's not just the plain online course, but then of course also presented here in the classroom. And really just over a couple of days, 3 or 4 days max, and you get your qualification. Of course, we are accredited with CSR and XR. You get your PIs, your CD credits as well. So please join our courses. Go online to ssgconsulting.co.za and go have a look there, or just contact us via that website so we can share some more information on our courses with you. That said, thank you for your time today. We really had fun. It was a good chat. Thank you, Johan, for this. Insightful, as usually. And we hope to see you again next week. Don't forget, like, subscribe, leave a comment even if you want. We'd like to see what comments you might have on this one. And then we can respond again by next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.